What's poppin'? Raj coming at y'all. This is my third video today. And this one won't be breaking up because this is going to be a pre-recorded video. So you guys can like, subscribe, comment down below, and definitely, see what's popping. So today, I got a question this morning. I thank the Heavenly, of course. I did 2 videos, you know what I mean? So, of course. Thank the Heavenly for the opportunity to be able to see you guys and hope everything is well with you and your fam. And you're doing well yourself and you're hanging in there and living life like you should be living it. Know what I mean? Ain't no new normal. Just be normal. Holla at your boy. That's how I feel. Anyway. So, I got a question this morning from a young lady. I think her name was Cheryl. Was it Cheryl? I forgot her name. But anyway, she had asked about leasing. And she was like, well, she's retired. And how do I feel about leasing? I guess as opposed to buying. And I gave her an answer. It was kind of long-winded, but it's the way I felt about how I feel about leasing. And at one time, my credit was so jacked up that I couldn't buy a sock. You know what I mean? And it was just jacked up. My credit was really, really messed up. And, as I went through life, buying cars and whatsoever, first whip was a Ford Escort, which I wasn't responsible. My mom co-signed for me, and I messed around and lost that joint. Really? Oh, man, it's always... I messed around and lost that joint. So that was crazy. And then I got my next car was what was my next car? Actually, this was an aisle car because I think both of those are kind of like an aisle car. Well, no, it's kind of, I don't know. My mom and dad did that car. My next car was a Volkswagen Jetta 2-door. 2-doors wasn't around like that. Got 2-door, and I got that with my wife. And she couldn't drive, but, got the car anyway. And then my next car, I ran to this car. Once I got into the German thing, I was just in the German cars. And there was a Volkswagen dealer on Broad in Wyoming. I used to always go up there with my cars and, man, I'm going to get that Passat one day. It was a green Passat. I'm like, one day I'm going to get that car. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're going to get that car. Ended up getting that car, a Volkswagen Passat. And I kept that for a while until that bad boy. I kept that for the life of the loan for 5 years. But by the time 5 years was up, that car was a wrap. Definitely wasn't covered by a warranty or anything. So, I held it as long as I could. But it was pretty much a wrap. And then after I turned that car in, which is jacked up, I had jacked that car up. After I turned that car in, I ended up getting my first Beamer. And I wanted to lease a Beamer. I didn't want to buy. I told him I didn't want to buy because I was just getting out of this. No, I'm sorry. I'm lunching. No. After I got rid of the Passat, I got the Passat. I got the Passat. I ran into a little bit of money. I ended up getting a Nissan Maxima. Then after the Maxima, I traded that in and got the Porsche Boxster. Then after the Boxster, I had the Boxster. I couldn't drive that all year round because it was a rear wheel car in wintertime. So I bought like a Lexus LX 400, big joint. And then I got rid of both of those at the same time, and I got into the Beamer. And I bought the Beamer. I financed the Beamer from this place called De Simone up in the Northeast Philly. I financed that bad boy, and I gave them the Porsche and the LS. The LS was jacked up, even though I'm sure they probably fixed it. The seat was messed up, and it had some kind of valve thing that needed to be done, $800. I ain't paying no $800 for that. So I gave them 2 up and got my first Beamer. And that was a 2005. I bought it in 2007. And that was the first Beamer I had. And then after that, I had tore that Beamer up. I had jacked it up, and I needed another whip. That seemed to be a thing with me, though, in Beamers. I don't mean to tear them up and then had to give them up, but they tearing them up, man. So I tore up the 5 Series. Didn't mean to, but tore it up. And I turned that in and I went to mainline BMW, my first joint, and I had to give up a lot of money to get into leasing because I still had the other cars I had never finished paying off. I had never finished paying off the Maxima because I went from the Maxima to the Porsche, so then that upped my payment, and then I went from the Porsche to the Beamer, which upped me, and then I bought this $3,000 freaking maintenance warranty thing that they never used and wasn't worth a dime, so I had to finance that in my payment. So then when it was time to get rid of that joint, I gave up like 10 grand, $10,000. But what that $10,000 did was, it was freedom for me. I got to pay off all those cars that I used to own. It was a clear and cut, and I knew once I was done with that lease, with the X5, I got an X5 Turbo, X5D, nice too, fully loaded cameras, everything. It was a beast, electric everything, electric seat hook, hipsters, all that stuff. Everything was electric. Steering wheel electric. Everything was electric. That car was off the chisel, but that car is 50 grand. So I put 10 grand down on that car, and I struggled for 3 years to get through that payment. So once I got done paying off that, I was done. That means I was done all the cars I ever paid, I never paid off. I was done that joint, and I was done free of cars. I could just decide to ride a bike to work every day if I had to, but I was done. Then after that, I traded that in, and again, they got into a little accident. I traded that in and got my 4 Series, my 428. And the reason they wanted that car so bad, because it was a loaded XD. And usually when I lease cars from Beema, I try to get kind of the best they have. So they'll want it more when I take it back in to give it up for lease. Just like what happened to the last car I had. They wanted that car bad. That was a 340 GT hatchback. Can't find no 340s like that. You can find 330s all day. But you're going to find an inline 6 BMW 340 just laying around anywhere. If you did, it ain't going to be cheap. So he couldn't wait to give me that, take that car from me and put me into this. But before that, then I had the 428, which was sweet. That was electric too, had all the cameras in it. That was a sweet whip too. And I got rid of that and got the 340. All the time, after I paid that 10 grand down on the first Beema I bought, just to erase all them cars, from then on I was putting no money down. I think the most I ever put down on a Beema on a lease was $500. That was it. $500. Cause they was like, keep your money. I had like 2 grand for the first joint. They was like, nah, don't worry about it, keep your money. You know what I mean? We just put in your payment and then use the money you were gonna put down, just use that money to make the payment. Or add to your payment, whatever. But the same thing I'm doing with this car. Because the difference between this car and those cars were, the car I just got out of, the 340 GT, I still had $5,400 of lease to pay, which went into my payment. Now, it's $20 per every 1,000. So, you know, a little bit of money, you know what I mean? That was another extra $100. You know what I'm saying? Extra $100, $120 extra that went in, but I got out of the car. Now, if I had tried to own that car and got out of that car, I wouldn't be able to get out of that car. Because it's better to lease, because they know you only got it for 3 years. If you take care of it, you're gonna bring it back in 3 years with the miles that they want you to have on the car. So I bought 10,000 miles. Bam, they know it's coming back with no more than that 30,000 miles, 10,000 miles a year, right? So they know that. But if you buy a car and you bring it back and the thing is miled up, then you're gonna get no money for that car. And your note gonna be crazy. Now you're gonna find yourself, oh, I went from this car, now I gotta step down a little bit. You know? Now if it was up to me, I would have got another hatchback car, but they don't make any more Grand Coupes with hatches anymore. All the Grand Coupes now are 4-door. Don't have any more hatchbacks for cars. And I would have got a station wagon if they had that, but they only had the station wagons over in Germany. So I had to get X3 because the X5 was way out of my price range. X5 is, they can be anywhere from 60 on up, especially if you get that joint packaged. So this was in the 50s. This was 53, you know, but you know, you just can't lease a car at 53,000. You gotta be in position to lease a car at 53,000. And it was mainly because I at least 3 times before. So I got the honorable lease bypass. You know what I mean? Because all I had to pay, my credit score kind of took a little dip because, you know, I got my business I'm invested in, and I had to buy a lot of equipment this year, and it kind of messed up my DTI. It messed up my debt to income ratio because the business, unfortunately, I can't sell music to people. Studio thing went down. Couldn't get anybody in the studio to do any work. So, you know, all that stuff I bought was on credit cards. You know what I mean? Some of that stuff I bought with cash, but, you know, majority of that stuff was on credit cards. So now my credit card, my DTI took a hit. You know, y'all see the studio I have. I mean, I ain't buying that with no cash money. We ain't crazy. And people are like, oh, some women had the nerve to tell me, well, don't buy what you can't afford. Yeah, because you ain't got a business. You just work every day. I got a business. People who have businesses always have to invest in their business. Whether it's credit cards, whether it's cash, whether it's savings, whatever, you got to invest in your business. How about some people ain't got a bit of sense when they talk? They talk, and they talk like they ain't got a bit of sense sometimes. Can't believe that, sis. That's the last time I talked to her, too. Well, you shouldn't buy something you can't afford. You know, it's easy for you to say, because all you do is go to work every day and come home and play with your kids who are like 90 years old. Anyway, I threw a dig out there. I couldn't help it. I felt some kind of way with somebody, with myself, a person of color trying to do some things, you know, got some talent, whatever, trying to make it pop. And this sister want to try to down me, trying to emasculate me by telling me I shouldn't. I did an emasculation video, by the way. That's the first video I did this morning. Want to try to emasculate me by telling me I shouldn't have bought something I couldn't afford? Out here with you. Be gone with you. You wanted me more than I wanted you anyway. Be gone. That's what it was, for real, for real. But anyway, yeah. Like, people don't know, in the music business, if you're trying to do it on your own, you got to invest. Not everybody get a record deal, and people who get record deals are still in debt. Y'all see these people with record deals, the only way they get money is if they wrote the song, they published the song, and all that stuff. But if you're with a record label, you ain't getting to do all that. They getting their money. They give you $200,000, if that. You got to be really hot to get $200,000 to go in the studio and make it pop. You got to have a big presence on the internet. You have to have sold some songs. You got to have done some compromising stuff, or you might have to do some compromising stuff to get that record deal. You ain't just getting no $200,000 record deal because you was on the eBay, on SoundCloud, and you made a couple whoopity-whoop songs. It don't go like that. So you might not invest your own money, but eventually you're going to invest something. You might compromise your integrity, or after they give you the money, you got to pay that money back. $200,000, you got to pay that money back. Now, how do I get from that to leasing? Just to let you know, that's how it goes sometimes when your credit takes a little hit. But again, because I leased so many times, they let me slide. My credit score was nowhere what it was when I got my last car. It wasn't. It took a real big hit. But that's how business works. Now, I told her the other thing about leasing is, leasing, with this new thing that's about to happen, with the electric cars being touted, the self-driving cars being touted, you got Lyft, you got Uber. I would never buy a car at this point. What's going to happen is, if they implement the laws that they're trying to implement, I'm not going to tell you who's trying to do it because I'm not going to get into no politics. But these people who want to put you in slavery, if they implement their Green New Deal and all that stuff, that means your car is going to be taxed. Anybody who got a gas-driven car, you're going to be taxed. So if they happen to put this in play in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, and you got a gas-guzzling car, and they're telling you, well, you need to have an electric car, a self-driving car, or something, mainly an electric car, of course, then you, my friend, are going to have to pay a tax for having that car. You got to pay a tax for having that car. You just can't have that car riding around, and they doing the Green New Deal. So I said, well, I'm going to lease again. You know what I mean? That way, in 3 years, if they try to, yo, man, you can't have that car no more, then I can get out that joint. If you just bought a car right now, brand new, and you bought it and you didn't lease it, and some of y'all doing 48, 60, 72. Some of y'all over FC Kerbeck doing 84 months. That's 7 years. Kerbeck ain't got no problem selling you a car for 84 months. Because when you bring that car back, it ain't going to be worth a dime. I don't care if you take the greatest care of it. How many miles you going to have on that car after 7 years? it ain't gonna be no good. You have a whole bunch of miles, and that car is gonna be equity of 0. So now you stuck with a freaking 7-year car. You might as well keep it at that point. It ain't worth nothing. But if you get a lease, you can get out of it in 3 years. And some dealerships offer 2 years. Just gotta find them. But 3 years, I'm out the car. So if I retire next year or the year after next, I only got 2 years or maybe 1 year to deal with the car. I can get out of a lease more than I can get out of a car a finance car. You can get out of lease. You got people taking over leases. They got take over my lease applications and all that stuff now. People don't mind taking over leases. Your payment ain't crazy. Some people take over your lease, even the payment is crazy, just so they can get into a car. So that's why I lease. That's how I got into leasing, and I'm continuing to lease because 3 years is enough for any car. And you know how much the car gonna be worth when I turn it in? Very close to it. And it's popping. So I'm all y'all take care of yourself. Boom, bam. Lease if you can. If you can't, then you gotta do what you gotta do. But that's why I'm leasing. And because the future is closer than what you think, check out my other 2 videos. Well, the other one video, the other was Fragrance video. Future's here. Things about to change the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You may want to lease, start lifting, or Ubering or something. I don't know. Moped. I'm out, baby.